Oh, I was just saying. I said let's talk about the other half of the situation. So we had two fights this weekend. We had Devin Haney and we had Tank Davis. These guys have been doing a lot of talking. We saw both of them this weekend, and I guess we can break down what we think of that fight now and what, because my opinion changed from Saturday night to Sunday night. Because I go first now, unless you come behind me. When I seen the fight on Saturday night, you texted me and you said Devin Haney is not ready for Tank. He'll get knocked out. And I agree with you. I looked at it and I said I don't like the way he take punches. He has great defense, but he takes too many clean punches. And when he gets hit, I don't like the way he reacts. You know what I mean? And then I saw a little bit of stamina issues with him, maybe because he's having a hard time making 135. I don't know. But in the fight, you saw him looking at the clock a lot. Even though he was winning the fight, I thought convincingly, even though it was somewhat competitive too in that fight, he was looking at the clock like he was ready for it to be over with. And I said if he was in there with Tank Davis that night, he would have got knocked out. But then I watched Tank Davis last night, and I saw a lot of holes in Tank Davis. To me, they had me a little worried about Tank Davis. So I went from conventionally thinking Tank Davis would win that fight to thinking Tank Davis still would win, I believe, at this moment. But I think the longer Tank Davis picks that fight off, the smaller the gap is going to get between him and Devin Haney. Because I think all of Devin Haney is missing, which he may not never get, is maybe a little bit more of that grown man strength because he's only 23 years old, and a little bit more pop and power to his shots. I think if he can get a little bit more power, kind of like Shakur Stevenson did, because all of a sudden Shakur Stevenson has a lot more power in his shot. If Devin Haney can get that at some point in the next 1 or 2 years, that changes the whole dynamic of that Tank Davis fight.
My mine's opinion, I don't think it changed. I still have Tank knocking out Devin Haney. It's not because of these two fights this weekend. It's pretty much the styles. Even like a lot of fans get caught into the moment. Like a lot of fans get caught where they see something and they get caught in that moment of what they seeing without actually breaking it down. Tank was in here with a smaller guy, one with a pressure fighter, and was an unknown pressure fighter. Nobody, they really didn't have much film or much. I ain't say much film, but they didn't have much to go on when it comes to him. And then on top of that, what you had to go on was a totally different style that you got in the ring that night. So the crews like I said, the crews that I saw was way different from the film that I saw from him. So that's and then of course you got to add the hand breakage. So you really can't count that fight from Tank. And then on top of that, you really can't count the Devin Haney fight with JoJo because JoJo, he throws more punches than Tank in most cases, and he doesn't hit as hard as Tank. So the only thing you can compare with JoJo and Tank is they're both southpaws, and it seemed to me that's what gave Devin Haney a lot of problems was the southpaw stance. That's why a lot of those straight lefts was landing from JoJo. And that's when I text you. When I texted and I said, "Yo, Tank would knock out Devin," because those straight lefts were there for JoJo all night. JoJo didn't have enough pop to get him out of there. JoJo was rocking him enough to get his attention, but it wasn't rocking him enough to you know what I'm saying, like Lenore's there. He wasn't putting Devin Haney on Queer Street. That is the only thing I compared. So breaking it down that way, the only thing I still see the fight the same way. I still see Devin Haney having problems taking the punch. I still see him now. I see him having problems possibly with southpaws and that southpaw stance. And then, like you said, it could be he having problem making 135 now. But I don't see that as an issue either because I think Tank will follow him to 140 if need be. If that's a big fight at 140 also. So I don't think the 140 or the 135 game weight would matter much.
Now, now
I will. 1 second. I do agree with you though when it comes to Devin Haney man strength though. I do think Devin Haney, like you said, he is still young. He is 23, and he is falling behind that curve. Like you said, Shakur Stevenson starting to get his man strength in. Some fighters just don't develop power like that. Some fighters they're just not punchers, and maybe we got to start looking at Devin Haney as that fighter. He's just not the type of guy who's going to develop punching power. He can develop more strength, like to get in clinches, and stuff, and he can develop strength that way as he get up in weight. But I just don't see Devin Haney as being a power puncher anytime soon. Go ahead. What you about to say?
now let's be real about this. Now, Devin Haney has some glaring issues along with his elite boxing skills, where we all agree he's special. But let's not overlook Tank Davis. I mean, let's be real about it. I mean, you from that area, and I know you're a big Tank Davis fan, but I'm gonna be the guy that's gonna, be the devil advocate and critique him on his performance lately. Let's go to Mario Barrios. He had a close fight and he was struggling. People would say with Mario Barrios until uh Floyd Mayweather told him, "Hey, you losing," and he cut it on, and he had a spectacular knockout. And like I said, Tank Davis is a star. If you don't think Tank Davis is a star, he packed the Staples House Center on Sunday night. And if you look in that crowd, the stars came out on Sunday night to see Tank Davis. So let's not act like he's not the star of 135 and 140.
Right.
But as far as his performances, it's some glaring holes. It's far from Mario Barrios. And then people even say with Santa Cruz, even though I think that was his strategy, a lot of people say, well, he took a lot of punches from Santa Cruz. And Santa Cruz was kind of able to even fight until he got knocked out and put to sleep and almost killed him. And then this last fight with the other Cruz, he had his issues. So his last three fights, even though two of them ended in spectacular fashion, from each one of those fights, there has been some glaring issues with Tank Davis that people from the outside, or you can say a hater, or somebody just critiquing his performance can say that's some red flags that maybe Devin Haney can take advantage of.
Yeah, I agree with you. We all know that Devin Haney can outbox Tank. We all know that. We all know Devin Haney can keep that jab on Tank the same way Mario Barrios was. But we also know that at some point Tank is going to catch you. Like you're not going to avoid that. You're not going to avoid that for 12 rounds. I don't care who you are. Mario Barrios was the taller fighter, the longer fighter. And in my opinion, had faster footwork than Tank, but it didn't matter. Tank eventually caught him. With Cruz, the only reason why Cruz wasn't really this Cruz, not Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz got caught because he was in the pocket and didn't move his head. That's how Santa Cruz got caught. But this Cruz, like I said, he wasn't doing that. He wasn't sitting in the pocket. When he was in the pocket, he grabbed. When he had Tank on the ropes, he threw. That is the difference between those two fights. And like I said, if it wasn't for the handbreakers midway through the fight, it might have been a different fight. It might have been a whole different fight if he would have caught land more shots to the body, if the uppercut to the body or whatever. He probably would have got this Cruz out of there also. He just had to break him down. So, like I said, I agree with you. We all know it's a 50-50 fight. Most definitely. I'm not down because I say I think Tank will knock out Haney. Don't mean I'm downplaying the fact that Haney can win the fight. I'm not saying that Haney's no scrub. He's far from a scrub. He's an elite level boxing purist. He has all the tools to beat Tank.
Are they the best two? Are they the best two at 135 in your opinion?
Most definitely. There's no two.
Okay.
There's no other two I see. Those two are the two guys at 135 who I think will come out on top if they stay in the division long enough. Like I said, Tank already been at the 140 once, so he can go from 130 to 140 as he pleases.